The first harvest of northern pecans in Limbach. It was worth waiting 12 years. Today, we will explain the mutual relationships between pollinating and pollinated pecan varieties, because proper pollination is crucial for achieving a rich harvest every year. Let's dive deeper into explaining how individual pecan varieties pollinate one another. Using the varieties Carlson 3 and Lucas as an example, I will explain how the whole process works. These are the male catkins of the Carlson 3 variety in mid-May. A few days later, the same catkins are already releasing pollen in large quantities and pollinating all protogynous varieties within reach. In our example, and also in reality, this is the Lucas variety. For the Lucas pecan tree to produce a crop, it must form not only pollen, but also female flowers. The more female flowers it produces, the richer the crop that can develop after proper pollination. However, the key factor is correct timing. The female flowers must be receptive exactly at the time when another protandrous variety begins releasing pollen in large quantities. In our example, this is the Carlson 3 variety, which plays the role of the pollinator. Successfully pollinated flowers can be recognized by the fact that the stigmas change color from olive green to dark brown. From this moment on, every grower can be sure that pollination has taken place. However, whether it was truly successful will only become clear later in summer, when the first waves of spontaneous young nut drop occur. Imperfect pollination results in a partial loss of the crop. Then 10 or 14 days pass and the roles are reversed. Sometime in the first week of June, the Lucas variety begins releasing pollen in order to pollinate all protandrous varieties within its reach. In our example, this is Carlson 3, which by that time already has its female flowers ready for pollination. The stigmas of the flowers have a fresh olive green color and remain receptive for about 10 days. This is approximately the period during which the Lucas variety releases pollen. An important prerequisite for successful pollination is dry and windy weather. The key point is that, by that time, Carlson 3 has already finished flowering with all its catkins and is no longer releasing any pollen, so it cannot be pollinated by its own pollen. And I can give another example as well, a similar scenario, but with a different cast of varieties. In this next example, the role of the protandrous pollinator is played by the major variety. It all begins sometime in the last third of May, when major releases huge amounts of pollen in order to pollinate the protogynous variety Snaps, which at that time has its female flowers ready for pollination. Snaps, in return, sends out a shower of pollen about 10 days later, in the first week of June, exactly when major has its female flowers ready for pollination. These are nuts from the first harvest of northern pecans in Limbach. The varieties Major, Carlson 3, Lucas, Snaps and others were planted 12 years ago as an experiment with an uncertain outcome. A large number of variables could have led to failure, but thanks to a fortunate combination of circumstances, the experiment succeeded, and in Limbach we recorded our first pecan harvest in the autumn of 2025. The result confirms that northern pecan can ripen under the climatic conditions of the Little Carpathian wine-growing region. Further experiments should focus on testing more productive modern varieties that produce larger nuts and higher yields.